Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. We're going to head to the ACC. Another big matchup this Saturday is we're going to take a look at Notre Dame as they travel to play Louisville. We're projecting this line to be Louisville -8, 8.5 for this one. Is a revenge game. Louisville went to Notre Dame earlier in the season and lost 77-70. Notre Dame was a 2-point favorite. That was back when Notre Dame was rolling along in the ACC and on the season in general. They had that late January fall there where they lost 4 games in a row. They lost to Virginia. Then they followed up a Georgia Tech matchup where they lost at the buzzer. But that Georgia Tech game was sandwiched between the Virginia, and they had Duke on deck, followed by North Carolina. So not an easy schedule stretch, I should say, for Notre Dame. But they're back playing well again, winners of 5 in a row. But they haven't played the elite of the ACC recently. How do you guys see this one? I'll start with you, Preston.
Yeah, if I recall, Louisville's had a bunch of guys out with injury or even suspension, and when they actually met, it was maybe the first ACC game of the year, so it was really far back. You probably have a date there on your schedule, but it was actually before Louisville had some of those injuries. Snyder played, Adele played. A lot of their main guys were there, and they lost.
January
by 7.
4th was when they played.
Okay, so it was right after the holidays. As much as I like Louisville and they've been playing great basketball, I actually think the matchup just in general kind of favors Notre Dame because they take control of the ball or take care of the ball and they control the game, and that's something Louisville's going to try to do with their athleticism and length is force turnovers. So Notre Dame's not turning it over. They're going to get open looks. One thing I was surprised, I was looking at the box score of that game too. Notre Dame only took 12 threes. That's something that's like really low for them, and the reason they didn't have to is because they were able to just take control or care of the ball. I keep saying control, but get it inside. They drew a lot of fouls, and on the flip side, they kind of backed off. And I think Louisville shot something like 27 or 29 threes, and they didn't make very many of them. So I thought the tactics there were fantastic from Notre Dame. I think they're going to try something similar again, and it ultimately might just come down to if Louisville can make threes or not. And in general, they're not a great three-point shooting team, and covering 8.5 and 9, I think it might even be 9, probably a little too high. So I would lean the Irish side. If it comes in at 8 or less, I think that's kind of a low number, so I'm not going to be backing Notre Dame. But if it got into double digits in that range, then I'd probably look at it.
With teams in action on Wednesday night, we're taping Wednesday afternoon. It's going to have a little bit of a dictation of where this number might end up on Saturday night with Louisville and Notre Dame. But you talk about the fact that Notre Dame was able to get to the line, and I think that is the way that you have to beat Louisville. Defensively, Louisville makes you work for your buckets. I mean, teams are shooting 39% for the season against them. They're number 10 in the country defensively, and 30% from three-point land. So you're not going to beat Louisville from the perimeter. You've got to go inside.
In Notre Dame's team, so when they only shot 12 threes, I thought that was extremely telling that Bray was just like, we're not even going to bother. I mean, if you have an open three, take it, and I think they went 5 of 12. But otherwise, we want to get into the paint, get them to draw fouls, get to the line, score easier ways.
Yeah,
Right.
I would assume the same thing's going to happen here again. When you take a look at your net effective field goal percentage on the season, Notre Dame's up 5.9, Louisville 7.0. I made this line 8.3, and very similar. I like the Louisville team, but I don't like the Louisville team laying points. And that's the problem. And if we did get a line up higher, like you say, I'd be looking at the dog all the way in this one, even though that they won the first battle. I think you got a team like with Notre Dame that can put up points against this Louisville defense, but they do it a little bit differently. And they have the ability, if they do fall behind, to get out there and shoot those threes. So right now it looks like I may be leaning with the dog here, but we'll have to see how the line comes up.
Yeah, I'm going to go slightly the other way. Now, if this comes out the 9 side where you're at, I won't have a play. But if it's at 8 or less, I'm going to be on Louisville. And I just think that Notre Dame is not playing the same basketball that they were playing earlier in the season when these two met. Louisville, they got a big game tonight against Wake Forest. Not going to be an easy matchup for them, especially if they get caught looking ahead to Saturday with Notre Dame for the final game of the season. But I like Louisville, and yes, I know that laying points with them, and especially when it comes time to protect the lead late in the game, shooting foul shots, they can drive you crazy, but I would rather be in that position and take my chance there than if Notre Dame is down and is forced to start chucking up some threes to get back in it against this defense. That's when you're going to get the lead extended late.
Yeah, the free throw shooting is a concern. Look at the last 2 games Louisville's played. 2 games ago, I forgot who it was. Maybe it was North Carolina. They were 4-13. They were 2 of 11, and they made 2 garbage free throws at the end. And then they were like 8 of 16 in their last game. For some reason, the team can't hit free throws. So again, if that's an issue, for sure, it's late in the game and a
It seems to
game.
be every year, though.
But
Yeah,
I'm just going to say, with some of these good coaches, like Calipari and now I'm blanking here. Patino. Yeah. They always have the best players in the country, but they can't shoot a freaking foul shot. Yeah. It just it drives you crazy. But you got to live with it. And even I can remember a few years back, Kentucky, when Calipari was at Memphis, cost them a national championship because they couldn't hit foul shots. They had to game 1, and they let Kansas come back and beat them. So that is always a frustrating part. But I would rather be with the lead than not have the lead and hoping they miss and have to hit 3. So I got to lean to Louisville. You guys kind of on the fence, leaning more to Notre Dame if you had to take the game. So we'll go with that. And guys, hey, if you're new to Wager Talk, you want to get $50 free on us? Well, after you make your first purchase of $12 or more, send an email to support@Wager Talk. Put your username in there, and we confirm your first purchase. We'll put a $50 bonus in your account to purchase anything you'd like at Wager Talk. It's our way of saying thank you for joining the Wager Talk family. We'll be back with more here at wagertalk.com.